I don't know if any of you have been following the whole thing with Asmongold, but apparently Mythic Talent, agency that he was signed with, and I believe that he co-founded, has publicly stated they are parting ways with him. Video about this from Leaflet. The title is They Bent the Knee. 3, 2, 1, go.
So there's been some drama with the Mythic Talent thing. This was kind of related to what we were looking at earlier. Mythic Talent makes a post here. We have spoken with Asmongold and have mutually agreed to part ways. Mythic represents creators from a wide range of backgrounds and perspectives, and we are committed to fostering an environment grounded in respect and responsibility. We remain focused on supporting our creators and continuing our mission to help them build sustainable long-term careers.
A little bit of background. Some streamers like Caseytron have been leading some sort of brigade or crusade as of late against Asmongold. This may be the result of that, but not a good look for Mythic Talent. They've signed a lot of other based content creators, and if they're willing to go after what is the equivalent in a law firm of the named partner whose first name appears on the door, well, all the rest of them are not safe. People like Kirsche, people like Vebe, people like Legal Mindset, among others. Not really so much worried about Kirsche and legal Mindset. Kirsche's strong. She's been through a lot worse. Legal Mindset is a lawyer. You fuck with him, he will sue you into oblivion. But this is not a good look for Mythic Talent. This does indeed look like they're bending the knee. And as we all know, there's a sort of universal rule with this sort of thing of if you cuck, you lose. Mythic just cucked. Therefore, Mythic loses. Don't talk to me about fostering an environment grounded in respect and responsibility or whatever bullshit you want to spin. You cucked. You cucked to the heckler's veto and to the mob. You've shown you have no backbone, therefore you lose. You have given them an inch, they are now going to proceed to take a mile. You cucked. You lose. So, it's not going to happen today, not going to happen tomorrow, might not even happen 6 months from now, but this is the death knell for Mythic Talent. This is the end of them as we know it. Even if they survive, they will basically be hollowed out and turned into a skin suit. And the real talent will have gone off to multiple parts unknown. That's just the way it works, and that's the way it works every single time. You cuck, you lose.
And this is, unreplyable. So let's see what's been going on.
Also not a good look, locking replies like that. Especially when you're such a large organization. I can understand a smaller creator like myself, maybe locking replies and something because I just don't want to deal with other people's bullshit. But a larger organization like Mythic Talent doing that, they knew what was going to happen. They knew what was coming. Very similar instance came up with American Airlines promoting their partnership with British Air and flights to London. completely locked replies. They knew it was coming. They knew that London, being as dangerous and unsafe as it is these days, is a very hard sell for people. And they knew that the comments would be flooded with people saying, "Are you mad? Do you know how dangerous London is? Do you know how much of a shithole that city has turned into?" They locked replies because they knew it was coming. Not a good look for American Airlines.
I guess, like, should I look at the, I guess this is the actual, like, story here. So, this one's by the Dark Enjoyer. Talents leaving Mythic silently. So, if you don't know, Mythic is a, it's an agency, it's a streamer agency that hosts a lot of VTubers, and, you know, not just VTubers, also, like, you know,
Yeah,
also,
they've got everybody.
non-VTuber streamers as well. But the difference is, like, if you're thinking, like, in terms of VTubing, it's not really the same as, like, a VTuber agency. They mostly handle ads, as in, like, they will handle, like, sponsorships, basically. Grimmy comes out with her account of sponsorship cuts, gets a majority payment out of the sponsors while Mythic gets a cut for negotiating. Grimmy later calls sponsor and finds out that the real offer was higher.
So Mythic was holding out. Mythic was skimming a little bit off the top. And I believe they issued some sort of official denial about that, which, chat, remember what I said, never believe anything until it's been officially denied.
Mythic skimmed extra without saying shit, and they took more than the agreed 20%.
They did some double dipping there. They got greedy.
She alleges black company behavior and tells other talents to demand their own sponsor documents. When confronting Mythic, gets oops typo, and they refuse to show the full sponsor contract.
Major red flag right there. If an agency or anyone you're dealing with refuses to show you the full contract that you yourself are a party to, that involves you somehow, that is a major red flag. And we have seen this behavior before from VTubing agencies. I believe it happened with V Shoujo. I believe it happened with Niji Sanji. It happened with Bondi N. Many VTuber agencies. This sort of behavior goes on. And sometimes they don't even have proper solicitors writing contracts. Sometimes you have people in as low of a rank as interns or assistants attempting to write a contract. If it goes to court and that is found out, both the opposing counsel and even the judge are going to make mincemeat out of you. Because if there's one thing they can't stand, it's anyone trying to disrupt their racket like that. Why do you think lawyers in America have pushed so hard to have states passing laws making it a criminal offense to practice law without a law license? It's not to protect the public. They don't give a shit about the public. It's to protect their racket. And they're not going to let anyone disrupt their racket. Because lawyers are the ones who write the laws. Niji Sanji's still going through controversies. Yes, they are. There hasn't been a day that's gone by that they haven't had some sort of controversy. Interns, ew, yeah. That's when you know you've fucked up. Handing over something like that because you're too lazy, you just don't want to deal with it. Or you want to appoint someone who's a fall guy, basically. What better than some intern?
Next day, Asmongold dips and Mythic drops a PR tweet about their sponsors. Okay, So that's the gist of it, right? So this is the Mythic Talent post here. And let's see what other people have to say here. We have Kang Min Lee over here. Big
Good man.
homie chiming in. Another company bends the knee to the unsufferable. Wait, what? Wait, I'm confused. So Mythic, so Asmongold parts ways with Mythic Talent, but why are we
Right.
talking about woke mob? Wait, what?
I think Kangman here referring more specifically to the goings on with Caseytron.
Oh, right. Yes. Sorry. That was the other part of it, too. Yes.
Yes.
This all happened after the Caseytron attack on Mythic. Yeah. We have something on that, right, Julio? But yeah, this is related. Sorry, I totally forgot about that context. Basically, Caseytron was attacking the company and saying like, oh, can you believe that these people are like working with Asmongold, and like Asmongold is a bad person that wants people to die? Like, it's basically that. And like Caseytron was going out.
Typical woman gaslighting behavior. The whore just needs to sit down, shut up, and go back to smoking marijuana and acting like a typical e-whore on the internet.
For the company. So let's see what's going on here. So they actually did.
I mean, really, Caseytron just needs to be bullied off the internet. To the point where she just closes down all of her accounts and just goes away. There's people like her are an absolute pestilence. That they don't need an audience. They just don't need an audience. And the longer they have an audience, the longer that their poison and their pestilence is allowed to spread.
But did they split up with? See, here's the thing: is it could be either, right? Did Asmongold split up with them over that, and saying like, okay, listen, like, you know, my presence is fucking up. So
It could be a combination of things. It really could be. And usually with things like this, it's never just one reason. It's multiple things piling on top of the other until finally there's the straw that breaks the camel's back.
I can like kind of infer is the nature of Asmongold, and like what would Asmongold do according to like his nature, right? And like, what do I see like I can see Asmongold saying to Mythic, I don't want to get in the way of all of these content creators like losing, you know, being pressured, so drop me. I can see him saying that, but
he is accommodating enough to where I agree that would happen. But here's another thing. He doesn't need Mythic Talent. He doesn't need them. They need him. Because like I said, he is the equivalent of the named partner in a firm whose first name is on the door. That's how much he brings to the table. They need him worse than he needs Mythic. And they have just parted ways with one of their golden gooses. And over the stupidest of reasons. But Asmon's going to be fine. Because he really doesn't give a shit what the haters say about him. He's just going to continue to troll them and farm them for content. So he'll be fine. Mythic, on the other hand, they're kind of fucked without him. Stupid gay decision, yes. Very gay and retarded. According to TV Avison on DR1, in the last evening segment, right now there are reports of toxic acid rain over certain Saudi cities which saw fumes from boiling oil fields blow in over them. If you find a link to anything like that, post that in the news and politics section in the Cost of Expert Discord, if you would please, Harold.
I can also simultaneously see if this is true, that Asmongold saw this and was like, "I'm not for that. I'm out." So that's also a possibility. Like either one could be real. So
Could be
that's why
all
like
of
these
them.
kind
It
of
really could be
situations
a
are so hard,
combination.
because it's really difficult to know what actually is happening if
Yeah.
you don't actually if you're not actually like there.
And we won't really know until Asman himself comments on any of this, and I don't think he has. Not to my knowledge. I mean, I haven't seen anything. I don't really watch his live streams all that much. I tend to be one of the clip and VOD bros. So maybe he'll say something, maybe he'll put out a video or a statement on X. I don't know. Can't really link a TV segment on a live broadcast not available outside of this country. Now, if you see an article online anywhere about that, if you see something on X, feel free to post it. News and politics section, Cost of Exwork Discord.
The table, right? It's hard to, if you're not in the room, like how do you know? I guess is how I feel about it. So anyway, Kang Min Lee, so I'm just gonna go through like everyone's take on this, and then we'll talk about it. Kang Min Lee saying another company bends the knee to the insufferable woke mob. This is about the Casey Tron thing, where Casey Tron was saying that Asmongold is a bad person, and that like
we had a bit of a lull for the time where companies were finding their balls and growing a spine and standing up to these people. Seems like that moment has passed and we're going backwards towards companies bending the knee. He is currently sipping on a cup with a straw, laughing at people fucking around and finding out, as well as some weird Grok is tired meme. Alright. So, sounds like he's doing just fine. He's not really broken up over all of this. I think that's rather telling. And as I said, Asmongold doesn't really need Mythic talent, but Mythic does need Asmon. They kind of fuck themselves. It's kind of wild seeing Leaflet this way. All this bullshit has really impacted her. Yeah, Leaf's been through a lot lately. I'm not going to be one to publicly criticize my Oshi. Other people have said some things. Some of the criticism I concur with. I'm sure she does too. But people like Harmful Opinions are absolute, complete and total pieces of shit over all of this. And have just been absolute opportunists about all of this. I don't believe them when they profess their motives are what they say they are. I think the motives are much more nefarious. I think they see someone who is a rising star, and they wanted to knock her down a peg or two. So, people like Harmful Opinions, people like Nicandros, they're pieces of shit. And they're also people who deserve to be bullied and harassed off the internet. Because we don't need to be hearing from voices like that. I think what happened to her was incredibly unfair. And she didn't deserve all this harassment and all this poor treatment that she's been getting. She's fundamentally a good person who is just trying to do the best she can. And we really didn't need to. We didn't really need to hear all this madness and all this hate from the peanut gallery. Could some things have been handled better? Sure. Were mistakes made? Sure. Are human beings involved with all of this? Absolutely. And what do human beings do? They make mistakes. No criticism from me. I watch her a lot. So do I. Cheers, Mayoshi. One of Mayoshis. I'm glad that she's drawn some strength from everything that's happened. I have been quite worried about her. I think everybody's been worried about her. But she said in a stream the other night that she's gotten to this stage where doesn't really feel any sort of hatred or animosity for her enemies, more pity. And I think that's probably the best place that you can be as far as where your soul's at. Is when you can finally get to a stage where you don't hold a lot of hatred for your enemies. Really, mostly what's left is just pity. And truly, our enemies are pitiable. They're not very smart. They're not really sending their best. They are just mere topographies of ignorance. And all they really deserve is our pity. Pitiable because of so much unrealized potential. Were they not so bloody stupid, they could be so much more. But they won't be. Because they are ultimately bloody stupid. Just lamenting it because not too long ago, she would perform the process of thinking through the points, find out new information, calibrate for the new information. Here you just see a speed running, gathering all the information first, but then just talking about it. Experience is a very informative thing. And I think a lot of it stems from her trying to give the benefit of the doubt, where I think she may have gone a bit off course, was trying to give the benefit of the doubt to people who don't deserve it. She's a very generous sort of person, very patient. But sometimes generosity and patience can be wasted upon certain people. It's something that I learned a long time ago. The importance of not casting your pearls towards swine. But I'm glad she's doing better. She deserves to be happy, and she deserves to just enjoy her success. Her of all people, especially.
He's a part of Mythic, therefore anybody that works with Mythic is therefore working with Asmongold, and they're guilty by association. That's like that entire line of logic. Mythic chose petulant, nameless narcissist online over Asmongold, so Kagman is going off of the line of logic that the reason that they kicked out Asmongold was because of Casey Tron's harassment. Not only harassment, but her statement, right? Her statement where she was trying to say if you work or if you work with Mythic, that you are supporting, Asmongold, who was saying a bunch of stuff about who doesn't care about kids dying. That's the line of logic. Mythic chose petulant, nameless narcissist online over Asmongold, the very man who founded the company. Zero loyalty. Hope appeasing their tantrums was worth it. Asmongold didn't need Mythic, but Mythic needed him. All right, let's see. I mean, I do think that, at least for me, from my own personal point of view, Asmongold being a part of Mythic does make me take them more seriously, right? Also, wait, didn't Mythic have an anime project? It's what happened? What's happening to that if Asmon's leaving? Oh, it's a comic. It's a comic. All right, and then we have a
comic that I've never heard of. I don't think anybody else has ever heard of, and probably nobody ever read. Just wish it didn't have to happen. Just wish it didn't have to happen this way. Even though it was inevitable is all. Yeah, it was inevitable. Unfortunately, nobody really gets a say in how it happens. It does. And you have to deal with it as it comes. To her credit, I think she's dealt with all this rather well. And she's just going to emerge from this even stronger. Because if the haters really got their way, she would have graduated, she would have stopped streaming. That has not happened. She's still here. She's still streaming. So in the end, who wins? Seems to me like the real winner in that whole saga is Leaflet. Deservedly so. In the end, the haters are just a little pest. A fly to be swatted away. Meanwhile, she keeps going and keeps doing her thing. She's the winner. She's the conqueror here. And jolly well good for it. Kersestorf, hello, hello. Good to see you. How are you? I love the little emoji you've got there. The Duggar wave. That's cute.
Kirsha here saying, what the heck is going on? Chibi saying they bent the knee.
Yeah. Kirsha in recent streams has said she's got no idea what's going on over at Mythic. Most of her contact with them is with her actual agent at Mythic Talent. Beyond that, she doesn't really keep her ear to the ground with what's happening with the agency itself. Least racist VTuber wins most racist VTuber award. More at 11. Yes, I saw the what were they? The white VTuber awards that Shido and Netsumiku co-hosted on. It was rather well done. What they did in 30 minutes. It's a good little VOD. I think it might still be up somewhere if people still want to go watch it, which I recommend they do. Picked out some good people. Leaflet, Powder, Miku himself. Can't remember what they called it. It was whatever stone is the opposite of onyx. But yeah, good show.
Yikes. So a lot of these people are going off of the KCTron line. This likely happened because Asmongold refuses to censor himself. He remains unfiltered, and companies view that as a brand risk.
Companies are just going to have to learn to stop viewing it as a brand risk. Companies are basically going to have to stop being a bunch of goddamn pussies about everything. And realize that people are people, and they're going to have opinions, and you're not always going to agree with them, and it doesn't always make it a fucking brand risk. So find your balls, grow a goddamn spine, and let people like Asmongold just do their thing. And people will buy your shitty little products. It's not a fucking brand risk. You're just being a fucking pussy about things, and you need to just shut the fuck up. Okay, this is really funny. I found Miku from one of his emojis and reverse searched his name from it. Yeah? He's got his own set of emojis out there. There's a certain one in particular, and I'm sure you're smart enough to figure out what it is. Please don't use that in my chat.
Reminder to work with most companies, you have to censor yourself or be removed.
And that needs to be changed. A change needs to be forced upon these companies of, no, we're not doing this anymore. We're not engaging in any of this in any of this absolutely limp dick behavior where you have to censor yourself lest you be considered a brand risk. This is what I tell any company that wants to work with me. I'm not going to censor myself. You're just going to have to grow some balls and grow a spine and put up with it. And whenever haters come to you and say, well, why are you partnering up with this particular VTuber? Don't you know what they say about such and such? Just tell them to fuck off. Or ignore it. But mainly just tell them to fuck off. Because they thrive upon your attention. Tell them to fuck off or block them. But I don't believe in the concept of a brand risk. I don't believe there's any such thing. That's just tyrants trying to censor you. And I'm not going to be censored. And if you, as a business or a company, can't find your balls, grow a spine, and stand up to these ungodly little parasites, then you don't deserve to be working with me in the first place. You don't deserve the loyalty of myself and my audience. Because that's what I look for more than anything, is loyalty and strength of character. If you are willing to jettison somebody over a quote-unquote brand risk, you've just shown that you are weak-willed people. And I don't want to work with pussies. I don't want to work with a bunch of fucking pussies. I want to work with people of strong character, loyal people. People who have the courage to tell these hecklers out there to just shut the fuck up and fuck off. That's who I want to work with. And if you're willing to do that, I'll consider working with you. But if you're going to talk about brand risks, and you're going to be a fucking pussy about everything, I'm not going to work with you. You don't deserve my business, my loyalty. You don't deserve to have my audience. Because you're weak. And your weakness is disgusting and provocative. Because if you are willing to cuck, that means you are willing to lose. And I don't work with losers. I work with winners. Winners tell the hecklers to fuck off. Losers actually take them seriously and have things like brand risk as part of their vocabulary. Winners have no concept of what a brand risk is. Winners have the courage to tell those people, shut the fuck up and fuck off. Losers wring their hands over hate mobs on Twitter. Winners just block them and tell them to fuck off. Be like Leaflet, find out you're on the front page, play the song that got taken down on YouTube. Right?
Guys, I'm so fucking glad that I run all of my own shit. It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. I don't give a fuck. You know, I love it. Holy.
That's the alternative. Just run your own shit. Just run your own shit. Be as independent as possible. Fuck all these third parties because so many of them are a bunch of goddamn cowards. They're cowards that are being cucked by everybody in their lives. Probably their own spouses.
Crap. You have over here Nicholas Light, and as far as I know, wasn't this the guy that stopped Chibi from isekaiing himself? That was this guy, right? While on vacation with my for my 1 year
if it's true, he's a good lad.
Anniversary with my wife, Mythic Talent, and my talent agency is part. What? Wait.
Really? How very interesting.
Mythic Talent parted ways with him as well. Okay, so
while he's on holiday with his wife, celebrating their anniversary. What a dick move. What an absolute dick move. Aruma Maru, welcome in. You're watching us absolutely take the piss out of Mythic Talent.
This wasn't... He didn't do this then. Okay, this leads okay, this lends a little bit more... Okay, this kind of changes the... This changes the calculation. Because if I'm guessing that... Let me look. Unapologetically professional reaction. Okay, I'm guessing he does... If he's friends with Chibi, that would mean that at least his views are probably not of the woke variety. So I'm assuming this, of course. I don't know him very well. So this would lead a little bit of credibility to they are purging people. Okay, if they did this while he was on vacation, he clearly didn't want this. What a pity.
If they're doing that, to me, that just makes Mythic a target for destruction. The sort of people that, again, you just need to harass off the internet. Meme them until they cry and make memes of them crying.
They're the ones who kicked him out. But why would they kick him out? And then they kicked him out around the same time. I mean, it could be. No, it can't be. Why would it be coincidence? How could it be? I mean, is it technically possible that it's a coincidence? It is, but very unlikely.
I don't believe in coincidences.
Very unlikely. I see. Okay. This totally changes the calculations here. Here we go. Nicholas Light says some more. If you watch my content, I barely had sponsors over the past few years, so it really isn't really much of a difference. But
yeah, that's another thing with a lot of these so-called talent agents. So many of them, the ones that I've dealt with anyways, people that have wanted to be my manager previously, I'll put them to the test and say, all right, go to work for me. You want to make me this big hit? Well, go off and make me this big hit. You've got carte blanche to do what you must to make that happen. And they don't do it. And so very quickly they find themselves no longer being my manager. You want to boast about how good you are at something like that? I will give you enough rope to hang yourself. And you will either lasso dinner for me and a bunch of other people. You're either going to lasso the moon, or you're going to hang yourself. That's it. It's really that simple. You're either going to go out and deliver the goods, or you're not going to be in that position for very long. And the people that have come before that have said they wanted to be my manager, I've given them every opportunity, and then they do absolutely fuck all. They don't stay my manager for very long. Most of the time, I'm going to have to go out and do this stuff myself. It's like the old adage goes, if you want something right, you have to do it yourself. Kirsha mentioned there's someone in Mythic that's actively sabotaging her page. You know what? That wouldn't surprise me, given everything that we're seeing here. It would seem that our dear lovely Foxu would be better off leaving Mythic and going somewhere else. They definitely have rot in the back, yes, and that rot needs to be purged. Or at least they were before, yeah. If they've got some rot, that rot needs to be purged out from the ranks. And if they're not willing to do it, then the company is going to die. But it does sound like Mythic is a sinking ship. They've effectively become the new Niji Sanji, the new V Shoujo, especially in terms of how things are shaping up for them. Her direct manager is a G, though, and was just as confused as her about it. Yeah. Anybody that Kier has in her own personal employ, I trust that she's a smart woman. She's very savvy when it comes to business. People in her close inner circle, I'm sure, have her best interests at heart. People at Mythic, though, might be time for the Foxu to jump ship. Kirsha did seem to have a number of projects she was talking about in the past that have been put on hold, delayed, or she hadn't got an answer back on in more than a year. Yeah, poor girl's still waiting for the proper model. I'm almost tempted to reach out to my model artist and rigger, Nullis, to say, "Oi, mate, think you can take what's already been made here for the Foxu and work your magic, and in record time?" But I don't really want to interfere like that. It's not really my business, and I'm sure Kirsha's got people that's on it. I'm sure the wheels are in motion behind the scenes, even though we don't see anything happening. At the same time, other VTubers don't seem to have such issues with them. It's sad, really. A lot of that is driven by politics, I think. A lot of people dragging their feet and not really delivering a good product because Kirsha is who she is. She is centre-right. And for a lot of these people, if you are to the right of Joseph Stalin, you're a non-person. And you're targeted for death and destruction. And they also feel that they have license to take advantage of you and rip you off. And take your money and not deliver a product. When that's really not how things work, and they do that with the wrong sort of people, they can get themselves into a lot of trouble. Kirsha seems like the sort of person that you don't really want to fuck around with when it comes to things like that. I have a feeling that our Foxu knows some people. Has connections to attorneys, solicitors, those sorts of people. That you try and break a contract with her, she can make your life one miserable hell, and deservedly so. She's loyal to a fault. She's no model because the guy she paid has been hospitalized forever. She'd rather wait all this time for him to finish than just pay someone else. A noble sentiment I can understand. I don't know. At some point, I would talk to... if it were me in that position, I would be talking to them and saying, "Look, let me go ahead and just pay you for services rendered, but in the end, much as I care about you, hope you get better, this is business, and I need to get this done." And if they are a sensible sort of person, they would understand. That's just if I were in her position, but I'm not in her position. So she has to do what she thinks is best for her. And we just have to respect her judgment and her decision on that sort of thing.
I find the timing hilarious. They only want to work with liberals and creators with safe opinions now. I
Not a good, viable long-term strategy.
don't want to be associated with people who bend the knee. This isn't a loss for me, it's a win. Damn.
Quite right.
This is okay. I see. Y'all are not gonna address skimming money off of your partner's sponsorships. Ooh, this is bad. This is really bad for them now, PR wise, because if they did this at the same time and then they did the thing to Grimmy, if that's true, yeah, I can see that. Never deal with Mythic talent. That's really sad though, because like I did.
It's funny. I think I may have submitted an application to be considered for Mythic talent at one point. I'm glad they never got back to me. Because if this is the direction that they're going, I don't want anything to do with them. They denied this, by the way. But of course they did. Never believe anything until it's been officially denied.
I think they did seem pretty cool to me. But then again, that was only because of Asmond, really, that I had a really high opinion of them, right? Asmongold dropped his own talent agency that he founded. So he founded this in 2023. Asmongold dropped his own talent agency that he founded in 2023. People are speculating this is due to the perception that he is a controversial figure with values that don't represent the broader community. This is okay. The problem is now that they're doing this and taking a stand like along these lines, now people that are more that agree with Asmongold are now not gonna want to wait. Actually, but it's companies, so does it really affect them? Does it affect Mythic? Only if people leave. because their reputation as an ad agency doesn't really matter. It only matters in relation content creators working with them, because the brands don't really care.
Yeah. You can have a roster of all sorts of different brands that you like. It amounts to nothing if you don't have the talent pool. And this, to me, looks like they are hemorrhaging major talent. And I suspect that these aren't the only ones that they're going to be losing soon. Could be wrong, we'll have to see, but this may only be the beginning.
The brands are gonna want to work with Mythic anyway if Mythic has the results, because ads is not really like a part of, like people don't get too political over ads. They're kind of more, so this would only affect Mythic if people leave. I think that's my thought on it. Azahara posting bowing to the mob. I'm sure this will totally work out. Tectone saying never tweet anything controversial, never say anything controversial, never think anything controversial, just support the current thing. It's that easy. True. Oh, here, Nicholas said something.
Yeah, just be a fucking NPC. Well, I've never supported the current thing, whatever the current thing may be. I've always had questions. I've always been at least a little bit skeptical. And there's a lesson, chat. Don't support the current thing, whatever the current thing is. Learn to be at least a little bit contrarian. Learn to at least ask some critical questions. Not so much to... I mean, it's great if you get answers, but it's more to just gauge the response from other people. The response from others is what's most telling as to whether or not you're onto something. It's sort of like, if you're getting a lot of flack, it just means you're over the target. If your questions are triggering these highly emotional responses from people, it means you're onto something. And you need to lean into that. You need to press into that harder. The psychological conditioning can be broken. It can be shattered. The 404 blue screen can be triggered in a lot of NPCs. Just takes a little time.
Be like Ludwig and Moist Critical. You'll have sponsors, fake friends, and you'll never have to worry about an agency dropping you. Just have safe opinions and have zero thoughts of your own to share.
This is why exactly why I don't follow people like Ludwig or Moist Critical. I don't take notice of people like that because they're just supporters of the current thing. Much like that line in Star Trek TNG by Q, they've learned to play it safe, and ultimately they will never be noticed by anyone ever. Oh sure, Moist Critical and Ludwig, they command active viewers that dwarf mine in comparison. If those numbers are to be believed and they're not view botting. Which they probably are. But that sort of thing, you're constantly having to flap with the wind. Someone who's a critical thinker, someone who's principled, someone who is confident and sure of themselves. They plant the flag in the ground and dare anyone to move them. They don't flap with the wind. They don't have to worry about fake friends. A lot of them will never have to contend with some fair-weathered agency or sponsors. Because if anything, they're doing a favor by steering clear of them. Safe opinions, zero thoughts of your own to share. makes for an entirely unremarkable, easily mistakable sort of individual. Certainly not an evergreen. They quickly flower, and they quickly die. People like Leaf, people like Asmon, even to a certain degree, not trying to sound too boastful, but even people like myself, we are evergreens. We stand up to the torrents, the slings, the arrows. Anything the world that can throw at us. And we just continue to stand tall. We have no time for finicky sponsors, fair-weathered agencies, certainly no time for fake friends. We don't want to play it safe, and we've got thoughts of our own that we want to share. And by God, we're going to do it. And we are.
That's true. So true. Be completely sterile. Ooh, Celestium. That's one of my favorite VTubers.
Let's go.
Advanced GG, Makeshift,
Celestium.
and now Mythic, Ben, and
Collab with her recently. Got another collab with her coming up this next weekend. Going to be playing some Helldivers with her and Tabatash. You won't want to miss that. It's going to be good.
kind of rough. Yeah. Wait, is this why people were asking me about making an agency? Is that why? Is that why people were adding me on X? Because people were adding me on X earlier. Like, Leaflet, make an agency. Now's your time. And I'm like, why? I actually trolled them. I posted like an image that meant literally nothing. And everyone speculated that it was because I was making an agency, but
she's not. She's not. I mean, don't get me wrong. If Leaf were ever to reach out to me and say, "Oi, Rex, I want you as part of the team," it's not even a conversation that needs to be had. I'm just going to immediately say yes. Because I trust her. She's one of the people that if I were to enter some sort of group or agency, I'll go work for her because I trust her. There's not a lot of people that I would say that about. If she would offer, I would just immediately accept. There would not need to be any sort of discussion. Any other details we can work out at a later date. It would be an immediate yes from me. But, as she said, agencies, groups, that sort of thing, unless it's for networking reasons, which I am in certain circles for purposes of networking, and, you know, just hanging out and being friends, that's fine. That's informal. But formal groups, not really my thing anymore. Oh my goodness. The thing did not go off. Wait, there it goes. Good heavens. Celestium, your ears must have been burning. We were just talking about you. We were just looking at one of your tweets here in the Leaflet video. Raiders, welcome in. It's a bean raid. The beans are dropping from the sky. We don't know what sort of beans they are, but we don't question that sort of thing. We're just happy to have all the beans. Raiders, welcome in. If it's your first time, I'm Lord Rexworth. I'm an English nobleman VTuber. Still, how many raiders? A lot. There's a lot. There's 136 of you. My goodness. Zombie Slayer, Dirty Bill, Artemis, thank you for the follows, all of you. Thank you so much. But welcome in, raiders. How's your stream? Stand by for some shout-outs. Hang on. Let's see. Celestium Art. I think I got that right. Yes. Make sure to follow and refresh the page. Yes, thank you. It went well. Everyone, if you haven't already, please follow Celestium Art. I've got a collab coming up with her this Saturday. We were just talking about that. This is absolutely fantastic. Covered the Alada clip and other topics. All right. We shall have to go catch the VOD. later on. My goodness. You have a cool voice. Thank you. Thank you so much. And with that, we just met another follow goal. There's 830 of you over on Twitch now. That is fantastic. Thank you, thank you. Mithrandir, thank you for the follow. Ice Angel, thank you for following. Sailor David, thank you, thank you. Just doing the just chatting sort of thing. And there's Pyon Lee, hello. And Nico, hello to you. I think Dirty Bill, did I thank you for the follow? Or thank you again if I forgot to mention you. Yeah. God bless you. Thank you. Got to run. Super hype for the collab this Saturday. Totally understand. Anybody needs to raid and run, go right ahead. But do exercise the usual after stream care. Get up and stretch. Grab yourself something to eat, something to drink. And yeah, kick back and relax as we do a bit of video reacts here in the middle of our stream. But yes, thank you all so much. Thank you, Celestium. God bless you as well. Hope you're having a fantastic weekend and looking forward to next Saturday, which chat, make sure you're following both myself and Celestium and following Tabatash and anybody else who's going to be involved in that. Stay tuned for updates. It's going to be fun. Yes, hydrate your gremlin. Jimothy Stickle Pasty, welcome in. There we go.
These companies have no loyalty, no spine, just backstabbing the very people who made their companies actually worth something so pathetic. We need to make something, man. I wish we had the resources. Let's talk. If we can get the right people together, we can do something. And I just posted this GIF just for...
A bit of trolling with an Anya GIF from Spy Family. Let's see, who all did Samikaze tag there? We got Leaflet, we got Asmon, Dayspring, I'm not sure who they are. I know who Giga is.
I'm British, you muppet.
Indeed, I am. Sai, thank you for the mention. Samikaze mentioned, yes. I'm unfamiliar with Samikaze. I don't think I've checked out any of their content. Might need to change that soon. Yeah. I don't know if Giga would do anything. She's kind of off doing her own thing now. But yeah. Oh, and then there's T-Man. Which, by the way, everybody, thedragonstreasure.com/Lord Rexworth. Go there this weekend. It's T-Man's birthday today. Stock up for the spring and use code Lord Rexworth at checkout. Save 10% off your order. thedragonstreasure.com/Lord Rexworth.
No reason. I only posted it just because it was funny looking.
Just dropping the GIF, no explanation given there. Oh my. Welcome in, Rosso.
Really
Good to see
nothing,
you.
but then everybody thinks I'm making an agency now.
Well, well.
You probably could make an agency, and I don't really want to deal with it, to be honest. I don't really want to deal with it. It seems agency seems like a pain in the ass. Seems like a pain.
I mean, she's not wrong. An agency, I've been on the ground floor of certain groups and people that have tried to start agencies. She's not exaggerating. It is a pain in the ass. That is quite an apt description. Calling it now, she makes one with others we know in a few months. Servant of God, welcome in. Maybe? We'll have to see on that. I don't know. It doesn't seem like she really wants to. Which, you know, by the way, we respect the decision. As I was saying before the raid, if she were to tap me, there wouldn't need to be any sort of conversation. Of course I'm going to say yes. It's Leaflet. It's my Oshi. I would follow her to the ends of the earth and even carry her on my back if need be. But Sketty-Doo, thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. Would the benefits outweigh the costs, though? That's the key. We don't know if the benefits would outweigh the costs, especially initially. These are things that starting up your own agency and particularly doing it the right way, setting up the proper entities, building out the proper contracts and everything. It's kind of a money sink in the beginning, and you don't really have much of a guarantee that it's going to work out. You just don't know. You have to have a fairly decent win for your agency and make a big splash right out of the gate. That's just kind of how it goes these days, and that can be hard to do.
Pain in the ass. I'll let somebody else handle that pain in the ass. I'm not really the last line of defense here. People really want to people really want to do agencies for some reason. There's like a lot of prestige around having an agency. So a ton of people want to do their own agencies, and I'll let them handle it. I don't really
there is some prestige with groups like that, I will admit. Long term though, and especially the way so many of these agencies just spring up and fold up shortly after, and not just agencies, but even informal VTuber groups, they come and go so quickly to the point where long term, it just doesn't seem worth it. You're honestly better off over the long term, kind of just going off and doing your own thing. And networking, forming friendships, alliances with other people behind the scenes. That is, in many ways, how I've managed to enjoy some measure of success. So that's kind of the way to go.
Listen, I'm handling the FUMO thing because I have the means and I have the power, and I have the tested methods of FUMO creation.
Now, go get your FUMOs, chat.
I have rank FUMO creation, all right? So it's like, because of that, I already know how to do it, and it'll be like much more of a pain for other people to like understand that. Whereas with this
go get your FUMOs and watch for the announcement and the release of the Celestium FUMO plushie. I just recently acquired a Adventurer Leaflet FUMO. Definitely going to be adding the Leaflet FUMO to the collection fairly soon. Right now, it's just the 3 of the Leaflet plushie and the U2's plushie of Smugglana and Kirsha, which I've got them all sitting shoulder to shoulder. They're over here on a shelf near my stream setup and my desk. A little teddy bear that I've had since I was 3 years old. I've never gotten rid of it. I never will, because it is one of the most cherished possessions that I've had my whole life. There's a little grey teddy bear. Had it since I was 3 years old. It's showing its age, and I figure no better way for my little teddy bear to enjoy retirement than being in the company of my Oshis and some of my favorite VTubers, keeping the old lad company, especially wedged between the slime girl and the Foxu. Shows it was well loved. I would honestly perish if I lost this teddy bear. I've had it since I was 3 years old. Always had it with me. Sat up on a shelf or in a box for a long time, much to my shame, but yeah. And I've had to sell off so many of my worldly possessions. There's one thing that I absolutely refuse to get rid of. No, don't turn me into a marketable plushie, some unfortunate anime person subjected to Lovecraftian FUMO horrors. I see Leaflet assisting at most. She said multiple times she doesn't want to head anything like that up. Now, she's got a lot on her plate as it is. I don't think she needs anybody else. Sorry, you're correct. I meant the pink one. What's a FUMO? It's a type of plushie with a particular face. Lovely story. Thank you. We all have our favorites, absolutely. And Simons82, thank you for the anime wow there. Probably host your body's life force at this point, a totem of your spiritual energies. Possibly? I just know it's one of the few things I've had for most of my life, and I don't want to let it go. It is kind of a part of me. Sketty thank you for the follow, and Pez12357, thank you for following as well. I'd love to get a Fumo myself then, lol. I should like to have a Lord Rexworth Fumo made at some point. I think that it's in the cards, but probably not until later on down the line. That seems like a sort of thing to celebrate hitting, 1,000 plus, 1,500 plus followers, or something like that. Maybe at that point we can look into details of that, but at my certain stage of growth, it might be a bit too soon to be doing that sort of thing. That bear is going to be your anchor object when you're a ghost. Maybe so. I can use it to haunt people. Not going to lie, you'd make a great Fumo. Well, thank you, Jimothy. Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. And I should think that, yeah, a Fumo version of me would be a rather handsome little guy.
There's a lot of people that want to do it, so I'll leave it to them. They can make the agencies. I'm not really into that. Plus, you want to know the truth? You want to know the truth about Angel Sword? I only let people into Angel Sword because I want. That's really the truth. Angel
That's the best
Sword
attitude to have.
Is my happy place. It is our ship, and I only let people on it that I want. That's really it. If I have to lose money to make sure that it's always gonna be just my homies, I'm totally fine with it, right? I don't really care.
I don't think it'll be much of a money loser, though. That sort of thing attracts fans. They see that sort of thing. It's the sort of thing that you can't really put a price on, and it ultimately ends up doing fairly well for itself. But even if it doesn't, I mean, good tax write-off. Am I right? I have a little Neko Arc and Yunayu plushie, and they are adorable. Yeah, they are. They're rather cute things, aren't they? I know this Adventurer Leaflet plushie is absolutely charming. I wanted to get the other one, the original. It's got the cute little red hat on it, but it has been perpetually sold out. I don't think it's ever going to be restocked, unfortunately. So went with the Adventurer plushie. Got the cool sword in the back. And yeah. She gets to hang out with Smugglana and Kirsha and my little teddy bear, and they all get to keep Teddy company, and help him to not be so lonely in his retirement years. Rex will be 1,000% buried with his bear for real. I might actually put that in my will. Bury me with the teddy bear. Might just do that.
About money maxing or whatever, agency maxing. I don't really care. Seal the deal. Thank you for the bits. Breaking news: Marco Rubio will be running a Vtuber agency for the Troopers on the right. Nice.
Someone needs to do that. Someone needs to go into Grok AI and create a VTuber version of Marco Rubio with that pose on the on the sofa in the Oval Office. That would be brilliant.
Nice. Trump VTuber agency.
Mm.
When are we getting that?
Greatest VTuber agency in the world. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be huge. Believe me.
What about Scum Rats are doing is pretty effective, though. It's a blow to the institutional power of non-leftists and the smear of Asmon's very popular opinions. Yeah. No. Okay. You want me to
life has many doors, Ed boy. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know this already. You're a smart guy. You know this. It doesn't matter how logical whatever you say. It doesn't matter how logical it is. You can be totally right. You can say listen, guys, if you guys keep doing this, you're fucking yourself in the ass in the long run. That what you're doing is completely stupid, right? They don't think like that. Rogue Guard, they don't.
Facts don't care about your feelings, and also feelings don't care about your facts, so it all just ends up being a stalemate in the end.
They don't think like that. They think in screaming and they think in screaming, a bunch of fucking zombies running around, they don't know what the hell's going on, and that's literally it. It's logic and reason means fucking jack shit in this world. You need to understand that. That's the truth.
She's not wrong,
is that
unfortunately.
Logic and reason only works on people that have fucking brains, right?
Yeah.
So if you have
it only works upon reasonable people, and unfortunately, there's a lot of incredibly unreasonable people in this world.
A person with zero magic resist, it doesn't matter. No matter how much logic you have, you cannot fucking break them out of the genjutsu. They're like stuck in the genjutsu like forever, basically. It's like the fucking Mangekyo Sharingan.
The Genjutsu, I don't know what that is. Sounds like a magic spell of some kind. Logic greater than emotions. Fundamentally, yes, but emotions are still a very powerful thing. I love leaflets. Who the fuck is Leaflet Alert? Yeah, that was when someone brought the put him in a box video to Asmon's attention. That was one of his first reactions was, who the fuck is Leafit? And she just snipped that out, and that is now her new follow alert. Every time she picks up a new follow, you hear Asmon going, who the fuck is Leafit? It's a Naruto thing. Genjutsu equals illusion. Ah, okay, that makes sense. I will admit I have never seen a single episode of Naruto, which probably makes me sound like an absolute tourist, but there it is. Man types faster than me. There is no leaflet. There never was. You would do well to erase the thought from your mind. God, Knox, welcome in. Good to see you.
Gone. And there's no way you can break them out of it without consequences. But the consequences is dictated by the mob as well, so it's not really possible.
I love it when a plan comes together.
The unfortunate truth is the best way to fight these fucking sorcerers is to become a sorcerer yourself and then basically dispel all of their zombies and turn them into your zombies. That's
this is exactly the way I'm about to have a Lady Chatterley crisis here, hearing that out of Mayoshi. Finally, someone gets it. But yes, take your enemy's tactics and use them against your enemies. Yes, this is the way. Or as Robert Greene wrote in 48 Laws of Power, disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. There is no leaflet in Ba Sing Se. It's boring as fuck in my opinion. You won't like Naruto. Counterspell them, yes. Counterspell them, yes. Take their tactics, use them against them. That's the way. It's the most effective thing. And it's also the most infuriating thing for them. Because they expect so many of us on the right to continue prattling on about mer principles and to keep taking this mythological, non-existent moral high road, which is really just a weakness that they use to exploit and ultimately try to destroy us. But when you are willing to take their tactics, use them against them, and fight as dirty as they are, they start to grow scared of you. And they start to make more mistakes that way. They start to open themselves up to more attacks, and then you can defeat them. It is possible.
That's really it. But the problem is that people in the conservative side are too proud to do that. They think they're way too above like culture and stuff like that, right?
And you're not. Politics is just downstream from culture, as Andrew Breitbart rightly pointed out. So many in the conservatives who ultimately conserve nothing, they ceded the cultural ground a long time ago. Now we've got to take it back. And the way we take it back is through mediums like this, through VTubing, through content creation. This is the way of the future. People aren't listening to the radio anymore. They're not reading newspapers anymore. Heaven's sake, people aren't even picking up and reading books anymore. If you're lucky, they'll get the audiobook version. But they're not even reading books anymore. And you've got whole generations of young people that are graduating from high school. They don't even know how to read. They don't even know how to think for themselves, much less read. Taking cultural ground isn't necessarily going low road. Perhaps not. But there's really not much to be gained from taking a mythological, non-existent high road. In practical terms of realpolitik, what that amounts to, or what that ends up being, is right-wingers committing an unforced error of trying to fight with one hand tied behind the back. And you can't win that way. Model high road's still good. Their tactics can be adapted to high road. Perhaps so. But morals, ethics, and standards like that, that's for your friends. That's for your friends, not for your enemies. Your enemies are just going to use that against you. That's just another tool for them to use against you. We are dealing with an enemy which fights with no sense of rules or honor or any sense of moral high road. All they care about is winning. And it's because they are so laser focused on winning that they have won for so long. The minute that more right-wingers start focusing, like a laser beam, on just winning, and being as ruthless as our enemies are, that's when we're going to start to see more victories. It's sad that all conservatives have become what the other side was from 10 years ago. But conservatives ultimately can serve nothing. That's why I don't call myself a conservative. I'm a right-winger. I'm not a conservative. Because so many conservatives is just the same gay and retarded bullshit that you see on the left, just going the speed limit. Most people can't write in a manner even they themselves can hope to read again a day later. Very true. Don't necessarily agree, but these terms of high road and low road are poorly defined. Always were. If no one has any honor left, what left is there to fight for? Civilization. A future. For our people. For our children. For our children's children. And sometimes that carries with it a very high price. And not everyone is willing to pay that price. And that is also why we keep losing. If everyone's using wall hacks, why play the game? Point is to flood the zone. Flood the zone more than your enemy. Overwhelm them. And eventually they run away and retreat. It's all going to rot eventually. If your civ is dishonorable, little shits who all cheat. What the fuck is that shit? So many of the stories and lore that we tell ourselves of heroes in history, noble warriors, so many of them were really nothing of the kind. Much of that is mythos that we use after the fact to justify victories that were often hard-fought in some of the dirtiest and unimaginably violent ways. Again, there is a price to be paid for victory. A lot of people don't have the stomach for that price. But it is ultimately the price that we all must pay. Again, these terms are poorly defined. Some of it is also kind of faith-based argument. Perhaps so. And as someone once said, the path may lead to heaven or hell. God will say what's best. But one thing no one will ever say is that we went quietly to our rest.
This is why they don't want anything to do with anime. They don't want anything to do with like AI. And they're too busy fucking, jacking themselves off like while they're losing constantly. This is the problem with conservatives, is that they're retarded. They're all fucking stupid. And so what happens then is that the
too many of
what
them are not
happens
so much
is that the woke
too many of them are not so much stupid as controlled opposition, or they've fallen victim to some sort of mind virus or trap of their own.
sorcerers control all of the zombies, and they have all of the force of culture, and it becomes increasingly difficult to deal with it. Beast and leaflet pilled? Well, the truth is there's not any individual person that can do anything about it. So it works like this. Each individual of us, each individual person on our side is going to do what we can within our own power and our own capability. If that's convincing one friend to stop being a fucking idiot and dispelling like a single zombie, then that's what you're capable of. And it adds up.
We all have to do our part.
But it really depends on how many people are on board with it, because it's a pain in the ass, like, to be honest. Like, you know, what would you rather do? Would you rather spend the time like in the fucking battlefield, like slugging it out with people in like stupid arguments when like people are totally retarded? Or would you rather play fucking Helldivers? You know what I mean?
A lot of people would just prefer to play Helldivers.
And then if you do anything, by the way, like if you say anything, then everybody fucking wants to kill you. So unless you're fucking prepared, and this is the problem, right? Is that the people on the woke side, the woke sorcerers, they're fully willing to use like any sort of fucking method to fuck with you. Whether that's swatting, doxing, threatening your family, fucking straight up killing you. They'll use any tactic. Whereas like the people...
These people hate you and want you dead. That is what you are up against. Our enemies hate us and they want us dead. You have to prepare accordingly. You cannot keep pretending that that's not what your enemies want. You cannot keep pretending that your enemies can be reasoned with or dealt with in some sort of civilized manner. They're not willing to deal with you in a civilized manner. And you can't negotiate with people like that when their only terms are your unconditional surrender and eventually your death. It just can't be done. We can't share a country with people like that. We can't share a civilization with people like that. We're always in enemy territory. To a certain extent, yes. Balance is the key, I think. Perhaps so. Wouldn't advocate for us to use the sort of tactics of swatting, doxing, etc., but still apocalyptically devastate them in the realm of ideas. We're past trying to devastate them in the realm of ideas, Coronox. We're way past all that. You can't devastate them in the realm of ideas when discourse is basically impossible with them. It's like that millennial woes meme that constantly makes the rounds. Leftists will intentionally misunderstand and misinterpret everything you say, thus making discourse totally impossible. So it does you no good to try and duke it out with them in the arena of ideas. It's just not going to work, because they're not going to listen. They don't want to listen. They don't want to be convinced by you. They only want to take what you say, twist it around, and use it for their own purposes. They don't engage in good faith, so it does you no good to engage with them in the first place. We don't have to convince them specifically, as Leaflet says, we're playing for the neutral zombies. If you manage to pick up a few of those, I suppose so much the better. But, for the most part, me personally, I'm done trying to convince people. You're either on the team or you're off the team. That's my thinking. You'd be hit with the sort of legal punishment, the fullness of the law in a way they would never be if you did any of the things, even the smallest of a fraction of it, against them or anyone else, as they have. Yeah, we live in a two-tier society, unfortunately. So many of the institutions are so ideologically captured by leftists that, yes, those on the right, you'd better be prepared for persecution unlike you've never seen. Whether you want to accept it or not, whether you agree with it or not, we're all dissidents now. And we need to act like it.
On our side, don't even want to use anime. It's so fucking pathetic, man. I am not too proud. I am too damn busy. I got a farm, 3 kids, and a job, and I barely get to check the onlines. Well, you know what? If that's true, you're doing your part, though. Alicia, you're doing your part. Raise your kids right. Raise your kids right. Don't let them get fucking converted and turned into zombies by these fucking freaks. And then maybe we have a shot next generation. This is a battle that's beyond us, to be honest.
Yeah, this is not something that's going to be completely won in our lifetimes. This is something we have to go with the attitude of, we are planting trees that only our grandchildren will ever be able to enjoy the shade of. It's unfortunate, but that's the standard they've set in modern society, yes.
I'm just being honest. I think this is beyond like our time frame. Savage Cabbage. I mean, think about it. Like Basmanov said, these guys spent like fucking 3 generations doing this shit. It's like the idea that like we're gonna be,
they played the long
our
game.
leaders are gonna be
we
fucking
need to do the same
and not want to control the culture, and that like the individual person is gonna like implement a change like big enough to swing the entire thing like tomorrow. It's not realistic. Savage Cabbage, thank you so much for the bits. Thank you. Conservatives almost never actually fight for what they believe in, and they think that they're above using the left's tactics against them.
Yeah.
You mean like mail-in voting, and you mean like ballot harvesting, like how they're like, we're gonna ballot harvest everything, and then the people on the right were like, well, you know what, I'm too good for that, and then they lose, and then the next time comes around and they make laws even more loose,
and they keep doing it over and over again, which at some point you have to start asking yourself, are these people really taking some sort of principled stance, or are they just controlled opposition? Either way, they need to be purged, all of them. If you're being a loser, and if you're behaving like a loser, you're out. Because we love winners, and we simply cannot stomach losers. There's too much at stake here. They keep stepping over their own foot. Yes, so many unforced errors. And oftentimes, I'm inclined to believe that this is not so much stupidity, but malice. They cannot understand as yet that they are not fighting a political party, but a sect of murderers of all contemporary spiritual culture. Very true. Remember the fate of traitors. There's a lot of traitors in the right wing. And many of them call themselves conservatives.
like, well, you made the laws even more loose, but you know what? I'm still not going to participate in that because I'm too good for it. And then you lose even harder.
If you do not take and wield power, your enemies will, and they will use it to destroy you. Grab it, grab hold of power, and use it to destroy them first. Are you a sheep or are you a wolf? If you're a sheep, you're going to get killed and you're going to get eaten because that's the way things are. Better to be a wolf.
They throw away Republican votes. This is the dumb thing, guys. Like, I'm just going to say it straight up. I don't need proof to know that they're cheating. I don't need proof because the proof is in the motive. The proof is in the motive. Why in the world would you want to make voting easier to cheat in? Why would you? What possible reason could you have to be like, ooh, we shouldn't have ID for voting? Like, what possible?
The only reason you would do that is if you want to cheat. The only reason you do that is if you want to cheat. Sheep or wolf will both rot in the sod. Perhaps so. But the sheep goes to rot sooner than the wolf. They can't even agree with voter ID. Most people are in agreement that voter ID is quite reasonable. The ones that disagree with that are the ones that want to cheat. Because that's the only way they can win. To paraphrase a certain foxu, if all you want to do is grill, you and your family will end up on the grill. Exactly. You want to just grill, bro? You've got to fight for it. Everything has its price. And we all have to pay that price. But for some, the price is just too high.
What reason could you have for that? So like, it's so obvious, right? It's so obvious. I don't know. If you follow all of the motives, if you take each person, you take like each individual person and the things that they want, and then you like think about their motives, and then you think about that, their motives plus their capability, that's all you need, really. You can like gauge like 90% of human interaction by just understanding that. The dynamic between a person's motives, like what they actually want to do, and then their capability. Democrats say that it's because it's too hard for minorities to figure out how to get an ID. The racism of low expectations, because minorities are like incapable of purchasing like cigarettes and like alcohol and all of that stuff. Yeah, of course. Democrats never change. Guys, I'm telling you, your best play. This is the best play. Listen to me, chat. If you want to know how to beat this is what you have to do. Okay. Because none of these Republicans are gonna save you. That's just the truth. They're not gonna fucking save you. Like they're too far stuck up their ass. Our best bet is like.
And not only that, they're beholden to certain financial interests that they're all bought and paid for. If you want something that badly, you need to be able to pony up the cash to buy the outcome that you want. That's just how modern politics works. Most of us don't have that sort of cash lying around. And the way the laws are set up, I'm sure they would invent some sort of... twist themselves in some sort of legal pretzel to say something like crowdfunding for politicians is illegal and you can't do that.
Trump. Basically, maybe JD Vance. Maybe this is our best.
Doesn't mean we shouldn't
really.
try, though.
Unless something crazy happens with Brandon Herrera, it's pretty much like it's pretty fucked. They're not really gonna save you, so your best bet is to make a long-term play. Just make your life good, make your life really, really good. Have a family or influence people in your family to do better.
Do everything you can to prosper and thrive in spite of all these spiteful mutants in the world. Money rules the world. In many ways, yes, it does. There's a reason Trump scares them all. Sometimes I wondered about that, Servant. Sometimes I wondered about that.
And then build off of the next generation, you know? It's like Expedition 33. It's like...
Sometimes I wonder if they were truly scared of him. He would never have been allowed to get anywhere close to the White House. But that's just the conspiracy theorist in me talking.
The Survey Corps, you know, like you might not see the end of it. You might not be able to. You might not be the one that defeats the Titans, but maybe you can pave the way for the next people to do it, and then have fun while you're doing it. Right? That's what we're here for. We're gonna have fun while we try to do what we can. And of
might
course,
as well have some
if you
fun
have the
along the way.
capability of doing something more, doing something greater, then you should do that. Because what's the point of not doing it? It would be a shame to not do what you're capable of.
So put 'em in the box.
Let the walls be cold and white.